Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be laughed at just for existing? To walk into a room and see people point at your face before you even speak. My name is Peppery, at least. That's what they called me in the circus. To them, I was a joke. A clown meant to make them smile for a few minutes before they went home to their perfect lives. I danced. I laughed. I played the fool. And when the lights went off and the crowd disappeared, I sat alone in my little tent, staring at the mirror, asking myself the same question over and over again. Asterisk, why was I born this way? Asterisk, Salty was the only person who ever looked at me like I was human. He was my partner, my best friend, maybe the only soul who ever loved me without judgment. Together we made people happy, and for a while, I believed I was happy too. But one morning, I woke up and he was gone. Just like that. No goodbye, no last smile. The one person who saw me disappeared, and suddenly the world went cold again. Elsa, the woman who ran the show, said I needed rest. She said her sister would take care of me, that I'd have a home, a family. I believed her. I was stupid enough to believe that maybe, finally, someone would want me. But when I arrived at Rita's house, I realized home was just another lie. She looked at me like I was dirt on her shoe, and her husband Larry, he didn't even try to hide his disgust. They made me serve drinks to their guests like some kind of freak on display. I wasn't family. I was entertainment again. Then came the baby little Lucas. He was born different, like me, unwanted, broken, they said. Maybe that's why I love him so much. When I held him, for the first time, I felt like I belonged. He didn't cry when he looked at me. He smiled. We were the same, to mistakes the world didn't ask for. But love. Love doesn't matter when hate is stronger. One night, while I slept, Larry killed that poor baby. He killed him. And when the police came, they said I did it. My own sister stood there and said, asterisk, yes, it was her. Asterisk, I remember screaming, trying to tell them the truth. But no one listened. They saw my face and decided I was capable of anything. I was dragged away like an animal, crying his name. Lucas, I screamed over and over. But they just locked me up. That was the day I learned monsters aren't born, they're made. And sometimes the real monsters are the ones who look normal. They sent me to an asylum after that, a place where screams never stopped, where lights flickered all night, and where no one remembered your name. They shaved my head, gave me a number, and took away the last piece of who I was. But I didn't cry because I was guilty. I cried because no one ever believed I could be innocent. I cried for the baby, for Salty, for the life I never got to live. And as the walls of that asylum closed around me, I realized something even darker. I wasn't the only prisoner there. Something else was watching. Something not human. They told me I was insane, that I had killed a baby, my own nephew. I tried to scream that I didn't do it, but my voice never reached their ears. The asylum became my punishment and my grave at the same time. The air smelled like rust, bleach, and loneliness. Every hallway echoed with whispers. Every room had scratches on the walls, like someone tried to claw their way out. They shaved my head, gave me a thin gray gown, and locked me in a cell so small I could touch both walls just by spreading my arms. At night, I would sit in the dark and hear people crying, screaming for mercy, banging on doors that never opened. Sometimes I would cry too, but my tears never made a sound anymore. I had run out of ways to be heard. Days passed, or maybe weeks. Time didn't exist there. I cleaned floors, scrubbed blood off walls, served food to people who stared at me like I didn't belong among them. One of the nuns, Sister Mary Eunice, used to watch me. At first, she looked at me with disgust, like everyone else. But one morning she found me in the corner, holding a piece of cloth like it was a baby, whispering, asterisk, Lucas, I'm sorry. Asterisk, after that, something changed in her eyes. She didn't say it, but I think she started to believe I wasn't the monster they said I was. She made me clean the library, the only quiet place in that whole hell. I liked it there. The books smelled old, like they'd been crying too. Sometimes, when it rained, the lights would flicker and the whole building would hum, like it was alive. The patients would scream and cover their ears. But I just sat there, listening. It wasn't thunder. It was something else. One night, during a storm, I saw a light through the barred window, bright, white, and moving like it was searching for something. I felt it on my skin, warm, but not like fire, more like a hand touching my soul. The next thing I remember is waking up on the floor, my nose bleeding, and the clock showing the wrong time. Everyone said it was just a blackout, but deep inside, I knew something had happened. After that night, things inside me changed. I could remember things clearly. I could think faster. I started to understand the people around me, their lies, their fear, their cruelty. It felt like my mind had been rewired, like someone had opened it and put light inside. One evening, Dr. Arden, the head physician, came to the library. He looked at me like I was an insect he wanted to crush. He asked me strange questions about what I saw that night, about the light. I told him the truth, that they came for me. He laughed, but when he tried to cut a strand of my hair with his scalpel, the blade slipped from his hand and flew across the room, slicing his cheek. I didn't touch it. I didn't move. But something, or someone didn't want him to hurt me. He turned pale, called me cursed, and ran out. After that, no one came near me. They whispered my name like it was a warning. Don't go near Pepper. She's different now. But I didn't feel cursed. I felt protected, because the same night, when I looked into the cracked mirror in my cell, I saw something behind me. Not a ghost, not a reflection, a shape, tall, glowing, and silent. It didn't scare me, it just stared, and in my mind, I heard a voice. Asterisk, you are not alone. Asterisk, and for the first time in a long time, I believed it. After that night, I stopped fearing the asylum. The screaming didn't bother me anymore. The guards, the doctors, the patients, they all seemed smaller, like shadows moving through someone else's nightmare. Maybe I was still human, or maybe whatever touched me that night had taken a part of me somewhere else. They thought I'd gone quiet because the drugs finally worked. But the truth was, I started to see things they couldn't. I could tell when someone was lying, when a patient was about to die, when the storm outside wasn't just thunder, but something watching asterisk. Grace came next, a young woman with eyes that looked too tired for her age. She said she'd seen the light too, and that it had left something inside her. She was pregnant, and the doctors wanted to cut her open to see what was growing inside. I told them no one touches her, not while I'm breathing. They laughed at me. The next morning, when Dr. Arden lifted his scalpel to start, it flew from his hand like someone had ripped it away. His face went white, and he ran from the room shouting words that didn't make sense. Grace smiled at me through her tears, and I told her, "They're protecting you." I didn't know who they were anymore, angels, aliens, ghosts, but I could feel them. They hummed in my bones like a second heartbeat for a while. Life almost felt peaceful again. Grace and I cleaned the library together, whispering stories about the outside world we'd never see. But peace doesn't last in a place built on pain. One night, Grace was taken away by orderlies. She screamed my name until her voice broke, and I could do nothing. I slammed my fists against the walls until they bled, but no one came. Days turned into months, and I stopped counting. The light never came back. The voices faded too. Maybe they saved Grace, or maybe they abandoned me. I'll never know. Then Sister Jude came, a woman who had once run this asylum. Now locked inside it, life has a cruel sense of humor. She was broken, her eyes full of guilt. At first, she didn't even look at me. But one day, when she dropped her food tray and I helped her pick it up, she whispered, "You don't belong here either, do you?" That's how it started. To ghosts living in the same body of walls, trying to remember what kindness felt like. We talked for hours when no one was watching. She said she dreamt of angels. I told her I had seen them. She smiled for the first time that night. For a moment, it felt like maybe the world wasn't all bad, but nothing good lasts in this place. Slowly, she began talking to someone who wasn't there at me, except it wasn't me anymore. One morning, I saw the nurses whispering near her bed. I went closer, but the room was empty. Only her voice echoed faintly, saying, "Pepper will come for me," she promised. I wanted to scream that I was right there, but when I looked at the mirror on the wall, I saw nothing, no reflection, just her, crying, clutching air. That's when I realized I was already gone. They said I died 2 years ago, that my lungs stopped working in my sleep, pulmonary fibrosis. They called it peaceful, they said. But I remember the night it happened. The same light returned, soft and blinding. It filled my room, lifted me like a feather, and the pain disappeared. Maybe it was death, maybe it was rescue. All I know is, when I looked down at my empty bed, I didn't feel fear anymore, just sadness. Not for myself, for the world that never understood me, for the baby I couldn't save, for the friends I lost, and for every soul locked in those walls, still waiting for someone to believe them. They called me a monster, a freak, a killer. But I was just a girl who wanted to be loved. And maybe, somewhere far from this world, the light that took me finally gave me what life never did, peace.